SoundCloud rap is often seen to have glamorized the use of drugs, but behind the veneer of the lavish lifestyle they lead is the story of addiction. Some have come out the other side, whereas others have been marketed by tragedy. Here are 8 SoundCloud rappers who became drug addicts. Lil Peep. Lil Peep was a young guy with the world at his feet. He had a top 40 single, was a runway model at Fashion Week in Milan and Paris, and had 2 million followers on Instagram. Perhaps more importantly, he had a young fan base who were inspired by his ability to talk about anxiety and depression, and Lil Peep was seen as the voice of a generation. Then one day, he fell asleep on a tour bus and simply never woke up again. At just 21 years of age, Lil Peep had tragically passed away. The autopsy report revealed that Lil Peep had consumed a mixture of Xanax and fentanyl, which proved to be a lethal combination for his body. They also found traces of cocaine, marijuana, and a slew of opiates. But the main point of this video is to help you understand why these rappers become addicted. 2 months before his death, a text on his phone read, "I'm under a lot of pressure from a lot of people and I'm on a lot of drugs with no sleep." As well as the sudden fame, Lil Peep suffered from depression. In fact, it was music that helped him overcome these demons. In 2015, he started to properly focus on music and texted a friend, "The best remedy for depression is not a pill, it's releasing music." So it's important that we don't look at Lil Peep's drug addiction in isolation. He was struggling to cope with fame and depression, and for him, sometimes drugs provided a temporary escape. Peep grew up in Pennsylvania and moved to LA to make it as a music star. During that time, he lived in Echo Park alongside many other SoundCloud rappers, and this neighborhood became a hotbed for drug users. By 2017, Peep was doing worldwide tours, and his fans bought into the drug-taking persona he embodied through his music. Apparently, some fans lobbed bags of Xanax, cocaine, and other drugs on stage while he was performing. On an exhausting worldwide tour in 2017, his final stop was back in LA. He was on the home straight, but his crew discovered that he had been vomiting and could be seen staggering and talking incoherently. He had apparently taken an opioid oxycodone, and his manager Ortega tried to cancel the show and explain the situation to someone at Lil Peep's management company. "I called Sarah and said, maybe I'll just call the fire department. We can make a play that it's a capacity thing, so we're protecting Peep's reputation and not saying he's overdosing." Peep decided to perform anyway, but his incoherent speaking was now incoherently rapping in front of thousands of people. For many fans that day, it was a painful thing to watch. His management moved him out of LA, and they got him a place in London. However, on his next tour, it was clear that the issues from the previous tour weren't going away. Instead of going out and exploring the cities they visited, he spent most of his time on the tour bus, and this proved to be a fatal environment for him. The musician Wicca Phase Springs Eternal recalls seeing him around this time. He'd go to bed in the afternoon, wake up a half hour before he had to play, then be up all night. When your main hours awake are when the bus is traveling to the next city, there's not much to do except drink, do drugs, or play video games. In November 2017, Lil Peep turned 21. 2 weeks later, he was gone from this earth, and far too soon. He has left behind a legion of fans, many of which have been inspired by his music talking about anxiety, depression, and addiction. And as I'll explore later on, his death prompted a wake-up call to others in the SoundCloud rap community about the dangers of drug addiction. Juice WRLD. In December 2019, Juice WRLD suffered a seizure shortly after landing at Chicago's Midway Airport. The rapper suffered a seizure at Chicago Midway Airport. He was transported to a nearby hospital, but was soon pronounced dead. The autopsy report revealed that he had toxic levels of oxycodone and codeine in his system. A truly tragic coincidence is that both Juice WRLD and Lil Peep died shortly after their 21st birthday. Juice WRLD's drug habit was no secret, and unlike many rappers, he did not glorify it and was open enough to admit that it was an addiction. In the song LLJW Legends Never Die, he raps, "I gotta admit myself, I'm on these drugs. Feel like I can't save myself. Nobody's ever felt the pain I've felt, so I share it. Put it out to the whole world. I ain't embarrassed." In fact, it was rap music that turned Juice WRLD onto drugs. In an interview with Adam 22, he said,
It was something that I was into early, low-key due to music. Cause I was a music head, so in 6th grade, 7th grade, I'm hearing songs about sipping lean. Those are the real influential years, I feel like, especially for a boy.
He remembers listening to Future, wanting to be like Future, and naturally wanting to sip lean too.
When I heard Future, the first song I ever heard by Future was Ain't No Way Around It. The second song I've ever heard by Future is Dirty Sprite, off the first Dirty Sprite mixtape. And that shit had me wanting to sip lean at 11, 12 years old, bro.
However, this does not fully explain his addiction. Juice. WRLD's mother said that he did suffer somewhat from anxiety and depression, which can be seen throughout his music too. Like Lil Peep, we see a disturbing amount of similarities where drugs were also used as a means of dealing with mental health issues. His drug addiction became noticeable to friends and family. to the extent that his mother asked him to seek help. The problem was that Juice WRLD was only 19 or 20 when this was happening, and he simply thought, like many people at that age, that he was invincible. His mother said, but he was 19 and he knew everything. He figured he had it under control and the people around him. Some of them would reach out to me, but not the inner circle. Juice WRLD's legacy is now the music he has left behind. Through his lyrics, he got people talking more and more about their mental health. And this is a legacy his mother wants to continue in his honor. When recalling her late son's addiction, she spoke very eloquently about how it doesn't discriminate and can hit just about everyone and anyone. Addiction knows no boundaries, and its impact goes way beyond the person fighting it. Jared was a son, brother, grandson, friend, and so much more to so many people who wanted more than anything to see him defeat addiction. She added, "We hope the conversations he started in his music and his legacy will help others win their battles, as that is what he wanted more than anything." Lil Peep's death hit the SoundCloud rap world hard. With Juice WRLD, these artists had another devastating death and another wake-up call. Our next rapper would be inspired by both tragedies. Trip Red. As the name suggests, Trippie Redd was known for his fondness for drugs. However, in an interview in 2017, he advised on the dangers of drinking lean.
Don't do lean. Don't do lean. Please don't do lean, bro. That is liquid heroin.
He recalls spending a few weeks where he had 3 or 4 cups of lean a day. Then this lean sipping took its toll.
I got sick as bro. I would get food, I would be hungry as can't even eat it. Just weird, bro. Sweating all the time and that's crazy, bro. Like, I wouldn't wish that upon nobody, bro.
However, the tragic demise of Juice WRLD also had its effect on Trip Red, who was good friends with Juice and appeared on songs together such as 1,400 999's Freestyle and 6 Kiss. He took to Instagram to address his own demons.
Everybody need to use this time as a wake-up call. If it ain't weed, we ain't doing it no more. Period. If it ain't weed, we ain't doing it no more.
He then goes on to clarify who we is.
And when I say we, I mean us as a group, us as a whole. The whole emo music artists.
Obviously, his rap name is Trippie Redd, so he can't help but feel responsible for the culture of drug use. However, he is one of the few people on this list to actually take shots at older artists who glorify drug use.
It's not cool. We look up to all these bigger artists, all these grown-ass men, and all they do is talk about popping pills and sipping codeine and all that shit.
For Trip, a lot of people are using drugs merely as something to rap about.
It's music. Niggas know what they get themselves into, but at the same time, it's like, we gotta be the strongest people to be like, okay, niggas is just using this for rhymes at this point.
He goes on to say,
feel me? I'll be the first to say, I ain't sipping no lean, I ain't popping no pills, but I'ma still talk about it in music, maybe.
Trippie grew up in Ohio and explained that most people in his neighborhood get into drugs out of boredom. It's boring. Most people do drugs there, work a 9 to 5. It's hard, really hard. Since then, it's difficult to tell whether Trippie has truly kicked his drug-taking habit. In 2021, Trippie announced that he will be releasing a Snapchat docuseries that discusses social issues such as mental health, incarceration, immigration, and of course, drug addiction. So he has definitely grown and become more mindful of the dangers of drugs. Lil Pump. Lil Pump has often been the poster child for SoundCloud rap, with mainstream singles such as Gucci Gang and I Love It experiencing both love and hate in equal measure. He was unapologetically making fun music that talked about the crazy life he was living. And in July 2017, he tweeted, "Xanax is the wave," which referred to the prescription drug Xanax, which is used to treat anxiety. Lil Pump, as you may have guessed, was not using it for this reason. During 2017, Pump was known for his wild antics, which may just be his zany sense of humor, but may also be drug-related. He was seen urinating on British banknotes, lied to his fans that he was going to be a speaker at Harvard, and continued to light up blunts at gas stations. But with the death of Lil Peep, he experienced the horrible side effects that can happen when taking drugs. For 2018, his New Year's resolution was to stay off his favorite drug. He wrote on Instagram, "I don't take Xans no more Xanax 2018. Although Pump was getting himself clean or cleaner than before, he wasn't exactly becoming a born-again Christian either. Later that year, he released the song Drug Addicts, which was Pump once again joking about how much he loves drugs. He rhymes, "I've been smoking since I was 11. I've been popping pills since I was 7. Yeah, I was 7. Told my pastor I don't do confessions because I pop a lot of Molly for my breakfast. The video even featured himself and Charlie Sheen inside a rehab clinic, followed by many hot nurses. It was basically Lil Pump doing what Lil Pump does best and making a fun and crazy song. An article in Vice read, "The song is second rate at best. The premise is only really funny for 45 seconds or so. And I'm not totally sure that the middle school kids who lionized Pump were even sentient when Sheen went off the rails a few years back. 2019 was a year when Lil Pump seemed to mature a bit more." In June 2019, Pump announced on Instagram that he was quitting drugs once again. "Yo guys, I'm making an announcement," he said. "I don't sip no more lean at all. I don't do no more drugs all that." As I talked about earlier, December 2019 was when Juice WRLD passed away, and his death clearly had an effect on him too. Lil Pump was performing at the Rolling Loud Festival in LA and decided to remove the song Drug Addicts from his set, as he must have thought that performing this song at that time may have been deemed disrespectful. Instead, he paid tribute to Juice WRLD and performed a cover of Lucid Dreams. The 2020s seemed to have been a decade where Lil Pump had matured. In a 2022 interview, he says he doesn't do drugs anymore.
I'm not doing drugs anymore.
What?
I'm not sipping drink, none of that.
When asked why, he said,
I don't know, I just grew up.
He explained that, like any other person growing up, he was going through a phase. That was the old Lil Pump. And no matter how much his fans beg for it, the old Lil Pump is not coming back.
Yeah, everybody's talking about, oh, I want the old Pump back. I'm like, you guys want the old Pump? Like, you don't want the old Pump back.
In 2023, he posted a gym workout with the caption, "Looking good, feeling better working out is my new addiction. Should I go keep going?" As much as we love the old Lil Pump, the new Lil Pump who is still with us and living his best life, and this is to be celebrated, Lil Xan. So far, I've only briefly talked about Xanax, but Lil Xan is someone who demonstrates just how destructive this can be. Lil Xan has quite an inspiring story behind him. He started as a photographer for hip-hop shows until his camera was stolen. Instead of paying $1,200 to replace the camera, he spent this money instead on booking slots in the studio and starting off his rap career. However, Lil Xan also had and still has mental health issues. He suffers from intense anxiety.
It'll jump out at the weirdest points in life. I can do a show for thousands of people and I won't have a drop of anxiety. But the minute I'm in like just a closed environment, it could just be the most random thing would just set me off.
While most people imagine addicts getting introduced to drugs at parties, Lil Xan was initially given a benzo by his doctor to cope with anxiety. He built up a tolerance for this drug, so switched to Xanax. He eventually took more and more until it got out of control. Xan told Complex, "I was really bad. It was really bad. I was taking enough benzos to take down an elephant." To get off this drug, he decided to go completely cold turkey. And like Liz Uzi Vert, he experienced withdrawals, but these were much more serious. He experienced several seizures and had to go to hospital. His body simply wasn't used to this and was reacting quite severely. After his recovery, Xan realized the danger of this drug and got vocal against the very substance he was promoting in his music. In the song Betrayed, he raps, "Xans don't make you, Xans gonna take you, Xans gonna fake you, and Xans gonna betray you." Xan's message is that this drug is dangerous, and he hopes people currently using it will reconsider. He said, "Now it's the national anti-Xan movement. The brand is unstoppable at this point, and I'm just glad I've created something so positive and people can relate to it so well." Because he was seen as promoting the drug in his early music, many people thought that he was a hypocrite. However, the change is about him getting older and wiser about the dangers of drugs. The whole thing is a journey. It's not like, oh, Xan made a song a long time ago embracing Xanax. He's a liar. They can see my journey unfold. That many months ago, I was going through that, and that's how things were up until Betrayed. Now they can see where it started, what happened, and where I am now. I thought maybe I should delete those tracks, but then I was like, I should leave them up for that purpose solely. The most significant turning point for Lil Xan happened in November. Xan was yet another rapper who took the death of Lil Peep as a warning sign that this could have been me. Speaking about the late rapper, Xan said, "Rest in peace, Peep. That was a tragedy. It was definitely a wake-up call to a lot of people. There are still rappers that are doing what they're doing, and they're gonna do what they're gonna do regardless, but it hit too close to home. I'm not saying it was the turning point of me deciding to be anti-Xan. I was anti-Xan months and months ago, but it was definitely a wake-up call and a reminder that this shit is real." Famous Dex had just about everything going for him in 2018, with his debut album Dex Meets Dexter reaching number 12 on the Billboard 200. However, the newfound fame seemed to be getting to him, and his drug habit went public. Later that year, he was streaming on Instagram and suddenly fell asleep. He initially blamed this on sleep deprivation and said, "The video that's right now going viral, that's kind of so stupid. For one, I'm a human being and I work my ass off. And once you put overtime, overnight, and then you come back home at 4, something in the morning, and you decide to go live. Hey, don't let the world trick you and be fooled." Shortly after, he admitted that he had a problem and checked himself into rehab, he told TMZ that he was upset by the video of himself passing out and expressed a desire of never wanting to see himself like that again. But once he was out, another video surfaced of him not looking completely himself. In 2019, he told his fans on social media that he was giving up on sipping lean and taking Xanax. "I just want to thank God. I don't do Xans, it's over with. You know what I'm saying? God is good, God is great. I just want to thank God for everything. I want to thank my supporters. I want to thank everybody supporting me, everybody that know me. God is so good. I'm relaxed, I'm chilling, I'm good. God is good, man. He's great." This was in April, but he clearly must have had some sort of relapse. In December 2019, he suffered a seizure while performing on stage. Dex was apparently carried backstage, but not brought to a hospital. This would continue into 2020. In December 2020, he posted a video on Instagram of himself looking inebriated and later tweeted, "I don't want to smile no more." His team was incredibly worried about him and even had one of his team members sleep in the same bed as him. This prompted NLE Choppa to publicly tweet that the rapper clearly needed help. He wrote, "I've never been the type to be in folks' business, but at 300 y'all see it famous Dex, obviously on drugs too heavy. Can y'all at least try surrounding that man around somebody with his best interest? Help dude out or somebody who already is in his ear. Uplift dude, he needing it." Dex was initially defensive about this, but eventually was thankful that he spoke out. He tweeted, "Blessed that someone care about me." Then in January 2021, a video was posted by DJ Academic showing him looking high once again. Dex responded to this and basically told everyone to mind their own business. He said, "Hey fam, I really don't need you to be saying like this, bro. Let me tell you something. I want to address this to everybody that's listening to me. Stop worrying the next that's doing drugs. The world on drugs, you know what I'm saying? I used to love doing whatever." Later that year, Dex would face problems that go further beyond addiction. He was hit with 19 criminal charges, which included possession of firearms as well as domestic violence. Apparently, Dex avoided jail due to overcrowding. With this lucky escape, Dex seems to have landed on the straight and narrow. In June 2022, Dex tweeted, "I'm 5 months sober, God is good." And in April 2023, it's clear that he continued this sobriety.
"I've been drug clean for 11 months. I'm happy and healthy."
He also signed 300 Entertainment worth around $5.6 million, which should hopefully motivate him to continue to stay on track. Smoke Perp decided to give up drugs alongside Lil Pump after the sad news of Lil Peep's death. And like many addicts on this list, there are a number of unsettling coincidences. Smoke Perp was also prescribed Xanax by a doctor and then got addicted to it. In an interview, he said, "Really for me, what helped me focus was the Xanax because I have severe anxiety disorder. I move around a lot or I'll panic for no reason for stupid. I've had Xanax prescribed since middle school. Getting off it was hard, but it was the best thing I did because my mind is clear. I recently just stopped drinking lean too. Besides that, I wasn't really on anything. I was not really on anything too heavy but the Xanax because I grew up prescribed on Xanax. When my friend Lil Peep passed away, I was just like, I gotta put that shit to the side. I'm not this. Taking drugs was not something he got lured into as he got famous. He was actually a drug dealer before he was even rapping. The reason why I was on drugs so heavy is because I was never an artist. In high school, I was selling drugs. In the mix of that, somebody just got me to rap and then it just popped off. I wasn't expecting it. Me and Lil Pump were not expecting to blow up. And like Lil Uzi Vert, he thought that taking drugs and making music were intertwined. I started making music on the drugs, so when I stopped doing drugs, I didn't really want to make music. It just became some weird cycle. I had to really tell myself I don't need the drugs to make the music, and then I just got back into working on it. Sometimes it becomes too hard to simply go cold turkey. For Smoke Perp, he ended up moving on to other drugs, and then the anxiety and depression came crawling back. I feel like I just needed to clear my mind and really focus. When I stopped doing Xanax, I went into a really dark place. I got into Percocets and then OxyContin. I was spiraling out of control. I didn't care about music. I didn't really care about shit. I was in a dark place. I wasn't a nice person. People would tell me they felt like I wasn't there. I cut everything out from the end of October up until New Year's or somewhere around January. I started smoking again. I really try not to get into that other shit. Thankfully, the rapper has turned a new page. However, for his future music, he wants people to know that he will still continue to rap about drugs despite the fact that he longer takes any of them. I'm going to always talk about drugs in my music because drugs were a big part of my life, big part of my story, big part of my image, big part of everything. It made me who I am today, overcoming all that. If you listen to Dead Star, it's really all about me feeling like I'm dying. The reason it means so much to me is because I nearly died making it. Making Dead Star 2, I was in that same cycle. I was nearly dying. People were worried for me. Then once Dead Star 2 was finished, that's when I was like, okay, I'm done with this. Smoke managed to get out of his drug addiction unscathed. Our next rapper was not so lucky. Wife is Funeral, Florida rapper Wife is Funeral was mesmerized by the music of Biggie Smalls as a child. When he saw the video for Mo Money Mo Problems, he knew he wanted to become a rapper. And when he dug deeper into Biggie's back catalog, he heard the song Suicidal Thoughts and found somebody who felt like him. Like other rappers on this list, his drug addiction came from mental health issues. This addiction evolved into taking different drugs and even mixing one or two. Eventually, he decided to mix cocaine and Adderall, a concoction that had devastating consequences. I was really mixing the two because I really was just like, yo, I don't want to be here. And I caught a stroke the second time I overdosed. Whole left side of my body was done, stiffed up like I couldn't move it. Around this time, Wife is Funeral was unable to move the left side of his body and his friend started to panic. He tried to pop his knee back into place and almost broke his kneecap. However, by popping his knee back into place, he kept the blood flowing through his body. And this is part of why he is not permanently paralyzed on the left side of his body. This was a scary situation, but he has learned to find the positives. Every day he is grateful that he was not left permanently paralyzed. I was blessed that that didn't happen to me. Wi-Fi said about his narrow escape from paralysis, but I definitely felt locked, like face stiff. This whole left side of my body was literally completely stiff. I couldn't move it. I was freaking out so bad. I was literally wobbling. I could only move on my right leg. Today, he still feels the effect of this incident. Sometimes he will wobble when he walks and is definitely more mobile on his right side than his left side. Since becoming sober, he has been inspired by the recovery of Eminem and how his later albums talked about his addiction. In an interview with Hip Hop DX, he said, it was just really so relatable, as far as not just the lyrics, not the fact of him being a rapper, but also from as a drug aspect, because at a young age, I was really kin with drugs. So I was listening to it and I was like, oh, I am finally listening to somebody that I can relate to. And therein lies the power of hip hop. Thank you for watching. Please click on some of the videos you see in front of you now.